Namaste and welcome to yet another interesting Facebook Live session. In a world where information about diet and nutrition can be overwhelming, it's crucial to get back to the basics. Today, we are here to explore the basics of nutrition, including macronutrients and micronutrients, and how they impact our daily lives. Get ready to discover the keys to maintaining a healthy dietary choices and nurturing your well-being. Today, we have the privilege of welcoming Dr. Daphnee D K, Chief Dietitian and HOD Dietetics, Apollo Hospitals, Gream Road, Chennai. Dr. Daphnee is here to share insights on the topic, Are you actually eating right? Dr. Daphnee will guide us through the world of nutrition, offering valuable advice and knowledge that will help us make informed dietary choices for a healthier and happier life. A very warm welcome, Doctor. Let's start with a basic question. How does nutrition impact the body's ability to fight infections, Doctor?
This is a very interesting question because I know we have crossed COVID, but the impact of COVID is still there. So, there is a lot of connection between nutrition and immune system because gut is the largest organ, immune organ. So, it is so important for us to maintain our health in such a way that we have a better immune system. And it is very well documented by research that malnourished people are prone for more infection compared to their healthier counterparts. So how do we ensure that we fight back infections? Body by itself has two systems to fight back. One is innate immune system and one more is adaptive immune. First, when the body gets attacked by microorganisms like bacteria, virus, we have our system in place like the skin, hair, mucous membranes to fight it out. And if in case it enters inside, we have our body cells, which are immune cells, which will fight back. That is how it keeps it in memory. And if in case you are already affected by a disease, and the second time it comes in, the same germ, and it starts stopping it. That's called the adaptive mechanism. So for which we need to have a healthy system. How do we ensure that we are healthy? We should ensure that we have a balanced diet in order to fight back these, microorganisms with a strong immune system.
So you mentioned malnourished, Doctor. So how do I, as a layman, understand whether I am malnourished or am I nutrient-rich person?
That is a wonderful question. The simplest way to understand is that if you are a person who is healthy, you will have an appropriate weight for your height. And the next important component, are you losing weight? If in case, without intention, if you're losing weight, it requires attention by a clinician and a dietitian. Next, if in case you're feeling full, your appetite is poor, you're not able to eat appropriately as you used to do, then there rings a bell. So you need to pay attention for it because the reason for it could be different, but these are the symptoms what you can note. And you're feeling weak and tired, unusual. After your work, you're not able to do your routine at home. There should be a balance between your work and your personal life, right? Sometimes you give all the shot at work. You go back home, you're just totally drained. That's not the reality. All of us are able to balance, right? A healthy person will be able to balance both. If you are becoming malnourished, it could be due to various reasons. It could be poor food habit, poor intake, or disease condition which is leading to it. Maybe it is without symptoms. So these are all warning bells which will help you to seek attention from a doctor or a dietitian.
And doctor, we keep reading about macronutrients, micronutrients. What are the role of macronutrients and micronutrients in our body and how do they contribute to a balanced diet?
This is the basics. Let's go back to basics. So, macronutrients and micronutrients are the key components of the food that we eat. Macronutrients are nothing but the carbs, carbohydrates, protein. These and the final one is the fat. These three are the key components which provide us with energy and, strength to function. The structure and the immune functions happen with all these macronutrients only. And as a food, if I speak, it is energy giving food and bodybuilding food. Energy giving foods are the carbohydrates and the fats. Carbohydrates are the basic food that we eat, the cereals, the pulses. Pulses, though it gives protein too, but it gives you energy also. And the fats that we eat, always choose healthy fats. Use a combination. It could be the oil that you use, or it could be the saturated fats like ghee, butter. All those are components of our diet which give us energy. Bodybuilding is the next component, which is the protein. Protein, you get it from your milk and milk products, your dal, pulses, soy protein, nuts, seeds, name it, all these have proteins. These two are the important components which are very crucial. We call them as macronutrients. And when we talk about micronutrients, it's just that micro means small, but doesn't mean that it doesn't have a role to play. It has a lot of role to play. The vitamins and minerals, they are the protective food. As we were talking about immunity, the protection comes from vitamins and minerals. And vitamins, support in energy production, and minerals take care of other important components like growth, fluid balance, etc. Vitamins, as you all know, it is vitamin A, B, C, D, E. All these are very vital for normal functioning. And the minerals, as we know, the copper, zinc, selenium, most of these two combinations, are called the antioxidants, which fight back, the person from diseases. It supports immunity.
A very beautiful example of balanced diet, doctor. So where are we going wrong today when it comes to a balanced diet?
It could be we are becoming more adaptive to the Western type of diet. Western diet is nothing but diet that is high in saturated fats and eating a lot of processed foods, or you can say ultra processed preserved food. Because when we think back, maybe 2 or 3 decades back, our pattern of eating was totally different compared to what we do now. Because anything that is easily available, most of it are processed because it needs to be preserved for a long time. And these two things, ultra processed or highly preserved food and high in saturated fats, these two components relate to the inflammatory process in the body. So these are all pro-inflammatory, which really affects your health, because these leads to obesity. Obesity in turn leads to poor immunity. It's all a vicious cycle. So where are we going wrong? Because we train our kids also having a lot of junk foods, correct? Most of the little ones choose to eat junk foods, fast foods, compared to healthy, nutrient foods. That is where we are going wrong.
So, do dietary recommendations change based on seasons, doctor? Say, for example, when it's summer, is there a dietary recommendation that you would suggest vis-a-vis, your winters, where you would say that there are foods that you can consume, you cannot consume?
Not really, but being Indian, climates, summer foods per se, we need to replenish ourselves with more fluids, because that is one important component that will keep you going. Because many times in summer, people do not prefer to eat more, and hydration becomes a problem. So, small frequent meal plan with very less spices in the food are really required during summer days. And ensure that you choose natural liquids like Indian style, seasoned buttermilk, coconut water, something very chilled. and melons are available. Fruits, seasonal fruits. Many times we, prefer fruits which are really fancy. We are not here to advocate such things. What is in your season? Melons, God-given gift for summer. Choose them. That will really make a difference to you because you feel hydrated with that. And in cold seasons, obviously, in cold times, there can be flus, colds. People pick up a lot of infections also. So it's always safe to ensure that you eat healthy, and hot foods are safer. And many times when you have a mild, flu, you tend to prefer to have something nice like a chicken soup. And many times people think that it is going to help you recover. Whether it's going to help you recover or not, it'll make you feel really soothing because you're hydrating your system. And when people have cold and cough, there is a myth. They think that dairy products are aggravating it. No, not at all. It could be some people have allergy. If they are allergic, try to avoid. If not, you are permitted to have dairy products when you have cold also.
Which brings me to the next question of what you spoke, doctor. What is the role or what is the importance of water in our diet?
Water is very important. At least, you need to have 2 liters every day because it is a cleansing agent. It's going to cleanse your system out. And especially when you are sick, down with fever. Every degree increase in temperature, your hydration goes down. So you need to hydrate yourself very well. And as I mentioned before, at least 2 liters is required to flush out all the waste products that is out from the food that we eat through the kidney. And many times we do see patients coming with kidney stones. And this is common among young adults. That's because they do not give the importance what has to be given for water. And mind you, recurrent kidney stones can harm your kidney. So from childhood itself, you should encourage your kids to drink plenty of water. It could be season based. If it is summer, it is a little higher. If it is winter, it is little lower. But the habit of drinking water has to be inculcated.
Speaking of kids, doctor, one of the most challenging predominant feature that mothers face today are dietary challenges, dietary food habits of children, like what you mentioned. How can we make that right?
I know it is a very, very, tricky thing, I can tell you, because of late we find a lot of picky eaters and mothers find it very, very difficult. I would encourage young parents to start the healthy eating habit from the beginning itself, because as a little child, you are the person who's introducing taste into their mouth. So ensure that you give less sugars, less salt from the beginning. The kid will not ask for more unless you add more. Same way, do not encourage them by giving rewards as chocolates, sweets. Don't do that. Because that's also, you are deviating from what you preach them, correct? Don't do that. Occasionally eating, it's not avoid sweets or sugars. It's like don't encourage them too much. That's what I want to convey. Then always include them in planning the food as to ask them what they prefer, what style they want. The presentation, the way it is prepared, everything counts for these kids. Of late, they are so well versed in, technology. All the kids have a tab in hand, right? So they see so many things. So even food has to be really appetizing for them. Unless it is, they don't eat. And one more important thing that I want to underline here is do not overfeed them. Don't think that they don't know to say no or they're feeling full. If they say, "Ma, I'm feeling full," stop it. Most of the time, mothers don't do that. They feel whatever they have taken on the plate has to be flushed into the baby's tummy. That's a wrong practice. If the baby says or kid says, "Mommy, I'm full," Just leave, give a break. That's very, very important because childhood obesity is on the increase and mothers may be one of the reasons. So, at the early phase, they should understand satiety. They should feel, hey, I'm full, I'm done. If they understand that, they will be wonderful kids in future. And one more important thing that you have to maintain is ensure that they are included. They are spoken about the importance of diet that they eat. It is important that you inculcate this from the beginning. And if they feel they are crying, if they are crying while eating, or they have swallowing difficulty, or if there is loose stools, vomiting, these are signs and symptoms that has to be noted and related to food. So make sure you take them to a clinician, check whether they have any allergy. Especially there can be milk intolerance, there can be gluten intolerance, all these have to be noted. So whenever you start some new food, start slowly, small portions. Check whether the baby is comfortable, the kids are eating fine. Then you proceed. That's how you practice.
Moving on to the next important topic, stress. What is the impact of stress on our immune system, doctor, and how does nutrition help mitigate it?
Very interesting question because stress is one of the key components that relates to poor immunity, and none of us can be away from stress. It can be acute stress, it can be acute episodic stress, or it could be chronic stress. Acute could be something you're on the way to your office, there is a traffic jam, you have a dialogue with somebody very harsh. That could be acute. You will get back to normalcy within few minutes or within an hour. If it is, acute episodic, say for example, I have a deadline. Within few days, I have to complete a major project. I'm stressed. The third one is chronic. It could be related to family conflicts or loss of a dear one, or it could be, disease conditions which is causing the stress to the body. These are all chronic. So all of these will lead to poor immunity. And when your body is stressed, as we discussed before, stress leads to overeating, that leads to obesity. Obesity in turn suppresses immunity. So whenever we talk about stress, what happens is the stress hormone cortisol increases, which increases your appetite or the craving to eat. And what do you choose? You always people choose something which is instant energy or something junk, high fat items, so that they get replenished with energy immediately. And this in turn leads to poor immunity.
So, are there any dietary requirements that can influence or that can better our immune system, doctor? Because stress, as you said, is going to be a part of your life. So, what can I do? What measures can I take to keep my relationship with food while I'm stressed more healthy?
You need to understand stress needs to be managed. You cannot be out of it always, right? That's practically not possible. So managing stress per se, a healthy diet is one important component. Next, you have to have some regular exercise because exercise, meditation, all these helps to reduce stress. As a dietitian, I will focus a little more on healthy eating per se. Make sure it's a simple term, balanced diet, that covers everything. But you might you might like to understand a little more about it. The specific thing what you need to concentrate is protein. Protein is an important component which will give you satiety. Satiety is important so that you don't crave. I'm just going to give you tips, okay? So next is you should have nutrient dense food. Nutrient dense foods are nothing but your vegetables and fruits. How many of us have at least 4-5 cups of vegetables every day? It's $1 million question. Many times we don't concentrate. Whatever is available. See, you are working, you are too busy. Food is the last priority. Never do that. Always prioritize food, because this will help you lead a role model for your family, for your children. They see what you do, they will also replicate. So even if you're stressed, ensure that all these dietary patterns are not messed up. Even if you choose to buy food from outside, ensure that you get healthy food. So more of vegetables and fruits in your diet is mandated. Ensure you have adequate protein. At least 1/4 of your plate should be protein. Half a plate should be vegetables and fruits. Only 1/4 should be your carbs. This is the basic of a plate which you should be having in order to maintain a healthy life.
So, doctor, how does your team, the Department of Dietetics at Apollo Hospital's Gream Road, help patients recover faster and better? Is the plan for every patient tailor-made?
Yes, of course. It is a tailor-made plan for every individual. That's because it is based on the clinical condition of the patient. And when a patient gets admitted into the hospital, we assess the patient. Whatever we did discuss about malnutrition, that assessment will tell us whether the patient is at risk of nutrition, poor nutrition, or is he already malnourished. Basically, what we look at is the patient's history for the past 6 months, where we speak to them, get details about their current weight, their previous usual weight, and where there is a gap. Did they lose weight in the past 6 months or gain weight? Did they have appropriate diet in the previous 6 months? That's also noted. Whether they are able to do their routine activities regularly, or do they have any signs and symptoms of nausea, vomiting, diarrhea? All these are noted. And physical examination, whether they have muscle loss, fat loss, all these are noted by the clinical dietitian in order to come to a conclusion of nutritional diagnosis saying that he is well nourished or malnourished. If in case he is malnourished, intervention starts on day 1 itself. Okay, so looking at their clinical condition, whether they are diabetic, hypertensive, or they have renal impairment, it is all collated together, and the treating physician gives an order of the diet which is translated into a meal by the clinical dietitian, and who in turn educates the patients about the do's and don'ts and how they should follow diet, whether it is in the hospital or back home. Because what they have to follow back home is what we teach them when they are in the hospital. That's how we work.
So, we'll take some questions from our audience, doctor, based on your last question. Hello, doctor. Can nutrition be tailored to support individuals with autoimmune diseases?
That's a very interesting question, because autoimmune diseases, there are about 80 plus autoimmune diseases. It is nothing but your immune system itself will start attacking your body tissues. Okay, so some of the examples are thyroid, celiac disease, Crohn's disease. These are all common diseases, and we do find these are on the increase. And this could relate to the industrialization and the agricultural pattern, what is happening on the ground, because we require more production. And how it is produced, there can be variations. These are all factors which can lead to autoimmune diseases. And as we discussed before, a healthy eating pattern can help. And when you have specific autoimmune diseases, it is tailor-made diets which are advocated. And the person needs to be assessed and then advised depending on the disease condition.
I am a vegetarian and I often worry about getting enough protein. Can you suggest some plant-based protein sources that I can incorporate into my diet?
Yes, Indians being predominantly vegetarians, though we say non-vegetarians are there about, less than 30%, but even non-vegetarians eat less non-vegetarian food in India compared to others. So vegetarian diet can be a healthy, balanced diet if you appropriately choose your diet. And it is so important for you to understand the protein sources are pretty minimal when we talk about vegetarian source. That is why you have to be very, very picky and ensure that you have adequate amount of low-fat milk in your meal plan, at least 400 to 500 ml. It can be milk, it can be curds, paneer, and soy protein you can incorporate. It can be tofu, nuts and seeds, at least a handful of nuts or seeds. It can be almonds, peanuts, or some sunflower seed or flax seed, chia seeds. A handful of them will support. Last but not the least, your dal and pulses. But many times, this is where you go wrong. Weekly, once or twice, people have dal. But I would advocate at least every meal, a little bit you should have in order to achieve your requirement. When we talk about protein requirement, it is 1 gram per kg body weight, ideal body weight. Okay. So look at that and ensure that you plan your meal appropriately.
Hello, doctor. My hectic work schedule often leads to me skipping my meals. How can I maintain a nutritious diet despite my busy lifestyle?
Yes, of course, all of us are busy. Once in a way, if you're skipping your meal because you have an urgent meeting, you couldn't plan something, you're running out, it is agreeable, but that cannot be your routine because you need to have pre-planning. Plan your things in such a way that for a week, it's already done. Okay. You need to have a systematic way of approaching your diet because we do not give that much time for our food habits as such. So choose healthy foods and always keep healthy snacks like nuts and fruits available so that even if you have to skip and run for your meeting, you can have at least some handful of nuts and some fruits which is easily available. You are not able to spend time cooking your meal. Look for things which is already available. It can be a toast or a bread or a oatmeal, which is just few minutes to make. So it really, requires prioritizing. Prioritize your meal plan. Never skip your meal and have adequate stocks at home so that you don't go, without food running to your work. And if you are short of time, make a meal, single meal, put all the ingredients together, whether it is dal or rice and some veggies, just pressure cook it, make a, bismillah bath and have. Simple. So once in a way you can do that also. Ensure that all the components of diet are there in the meal. That's important.
My son is a picky eater and dislikes most vegetables. How do I ensure he gets all the essential nutrients he needs for his growth and development?
Very interesting question because many a times parents have a difficulty. I think we did discuss on this point before. It is the parents' responsibility to ensure that kids are taught or trained rather. Because you are the person who's introducing new foods to them. Ensure that you introduce healthy foods at the earlier phase of life itself. And make sure it is really appetizing for them. It can be shredded vegetables or nicely cut fruits, scooped out fruits. Make it interesting for them because 2 days they will like one type of food. The third day, their taste buds will change. They will say, Mommy, no. That's how it is. I know it is very difficult for a mother, but mothers should become a little more innovative and keep them involved. Have your child pick and choose some vegetables for you so that he understands what he is eating and teach them mindful eating. Don't put them in front of TV just because you need to rush your work. Just flush in all the food in 5-10 minutes and just keep going. Don't do that. Let them understand they have to feel full. So if you are putting them in front of TV or in front of having a tab in hand and making them eat, they will not understand the taste of food. This is called mindful eating. Make them understand what taste they are eating, how it tastes, each individual vegetable, whether it is tasting good for them or not. You should relate. The kid should relate to all this. Introduce less sugars, less salt in their food. Do not reward chocolates, cakes. It's not a big no, but don't reward them with all these.
My teenager is quite enthusiastic about dietary choices and superfoods. Could you explain what superfoods are in the first place and also the advantages of superfoods? And also, can you guide us to ensure that she receives adequate nutrition?
This is a typical Google question. Superfoods, power-packed foods. Superfoods, do you think there is anything, any particular ingredient or a food that's going to cause some magic? Superfood relates to super sales. That's how it is. It could be research which says one particular component of a food, is good for, making you feel full. That doesn't mean that you will become healthy. These are all related to super sales. Some people advocate, this is way back in World War I. That time, they advocated banana diet. And kids started eating bananas. That's how. You are asking for an adolescent kid who Googles out and sees so many lists of superfoods.
And all fancy.
All fancy items, berries, cherries, and name it, avocados. I'm not against any of them. I am absolutely not against any of them. But they are not individually going to make a big difference to your system. That you should be very, very clear. Whatever healthy eating pattern that we speak, every component of the diet is important. Not one single nutrient of the diet is going to make a big change to your immune system, or it's going to make you feel healthy or look healthy. No, that's not going to happen. Same way, advertisements can catch you with a lot of dietary supplements, catchy stuffs. Don't fall for all those, because the food is the base. Unless you are deficient on something, you can replenish that deficiency with a prescription from your doctor or a dietitian. You cannot catch up things from Google and supplement, because supplementation is not advocated. Your food should give you all the nutrients, whatever we have discussed. It should be in your plate on a day in, day out, every day. Occasionally you are hanging out, you are having a gala time, you are just freaking on your food, it's okay. But whatever I'm discussing is your routine pattern. It has to be a healthy, balanced diet which is advocated.
Thank you so much, Dr. Daphnee, for going through a list of one-on-one topics for us on nutrition, energy for eating, meal prepping, superfoods, and their benefits, or are they even superfoods, including, what helps us for nutrition and our immunity. For appointments with Dr. Daphnee, Chief Dietitian and HOD Dietetics, Apollo Hospitals, Gream Road, Chennai, please contact 044 4040 1066. I repeat, for appointments with Dr. Daphnee, Chief Dietitian and Head of the Department of Dietetics, Apollo Hospitals, Gream Road, Chennai, please contact 044 4040 1066. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
And thank you, viewers.